flexible yet with the knight on g1, then in these structures, knight g2 is more flexible because he will have this fc e4 play which white is trying to get. Rook e8 castles, a5, rook c1, knight d7, f3. Now white is already settling to go e3-4, and one of the modern ways to fight against this, and the reason why this whole line became again very fashionable and many people are playing it, because black has this move b7, b5. This is kind of a computer move, a little bit computer chess, because it looks like, wow, what is this? White has just placed his rook on c1, there is a weakness on c6, you are not supposed to be playing b5. However, the justification of this move is that white has already committed the move f2, f3, so white has also loosened his structure, which means that this game will be not really a maneuvering game. White wants to immediately crash through the center, and with this b7, b5, black wants to make sure that against e3, e4, I have b5, b4 kicking away the knight and putting pressure on the e4 pawn. This is also the reason why Ding immediately plays bishop f2, he stabilizes his position. Well, it's a big strategical fight.
Absolutely, I think the main idea in this position for white, sooner or later after all the preparation, he needs to strike with e4, and whenever that happens, that's when the position blows up. That's what white is aiming for a successful strike. Meanwhile, black building pressure on the queen side, b4, now the knight from b6 also aims at jumping into c4, attacking the b2 pawn. So it's definitely going to be a lot of back and forth in this one. Another very complex start in the Andrei Espenko versus Eric Hansen. For both these players, it's their first time in the quarterfinals.
a blitz situation. Artemiev is down to few seconds on the clock after queen b5. He plays queen f3 with 6 seconds remaining. Queen f3. Okay, yeah, rook takes c4. White collects the pawn, and white seems to be on the right track to getting the advantage. Rook b8 can be answered by queen c6, offering the trade of queens. Queen d3, trying to use the queen. But rook c5 is possible. Rook c5 is possible.
Rook c5, he's not going to trade queens though. He's going to go queen d2, trying to put pressure on the a2 pawn as well as keeping the game going with just threatening white's pieces.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, rook c5 on the board. Queen d2, we are kind of almost sure that... No, he takes.
He trades. Wow, this means it's going to be a long defense for black.
Yeah, long defense.
But you can't take rook a5 because of bishop b4, so that's a good news.
Yeah, that's what Artemiev is basing his hopes on, and he wants to go bishop b4 anyway and take the a2 pawn. But rook e3, this is an incredibly strong move, which you can easily miss because rook takes a2, rook a5 works in white's favor. Of course, we are not losing the piece yet because we have check and bishop b2, but that bishop will be terrible. There. Wow, rook e3 was very nice.
And I'm very surprised with the decision to actually trade queens in that moment. But maybe there was some tactical repetition to keeping the queens on the board. Bishop b4, supporting the a5 pawn. White does have the possibility to go a3 and hit the bishop. And now he's got to go bishop d2 because bishop c3 runs into rook c5.
Yeah, but this now almost, rook f3, wonderful coordination. Suddenly this bishop on f2 creates incredible cement to white's position because the weakness on d4 is very nicely covered. The king is totally safe. The bishop protects, the king is not cut on the first rank. The bishop is multi-purpose, and white is also getting the chance of going rook b7 and hitting on f7 and going after this weakness and hunt black's king. Yeah, rook b7 on the board. It's basically game over.
Alright, wow. So, and 6 seconds to Artemiev. He needs to make a move and he needs to make it now. The clock is not his biggest problem. He goes rook d8. White can snap up the f7 pawn, but black is hoping to take on d4. Peter, do you go rook f7 and give up the d4 pawn in this position?
Well, I need to calculate, because the point is I mentioned that this bishop on f2 is the soul of white's position. If, for example, I just blindly take and after bishop d4 try to create something, black will have the chance of taking and invading with the other rook to d1, so I might have the temptation not to let this happen. And how I can do it, it's by playing rook f3 to f4.
Or
rook c7,
rook c7, yes.
That's super clever, of course. You just spin, you make sure that these things are no threats anymore.
And now he can also go for rook f7.
Now he can. He takes with this rook. Because it's checkmate, that's it. So bishop d4 loses to bishop d4, rook d4 checkmate after rook f8.
Wow, rook f8, rook f7. Amazing stuff. That's nice, precise calculation. Rook c7, move the bishop away, and then go for rook f7. And this is pretty much game over for Artemiev.
Yeah, rook c2, and now white pushes e6. There is no way of stopping this pawn. E6 on the board, and it's over.
Alright, Peter, because we can pretty much call this a Liren win for game 1, let's